Hey guys, Justin with Ready Business Systems, and today I'm going to go over some form stuff. I was actually just building stuff for Ready Business Systems and I was forgetting a step. So I just want to point this out to you guys to make sure that you're building your forms correctly and getting your map to fields functioning properly. So here's the client screen everyone's familiar with. If you scroll down here, there's all these fields here. And you can have forms that will pre-populate this data in here, so you can send it to a customer or fill it out internally, and it will populate these fields and save them on your account. On top of that, you can then utilize these fields that you create to be custom fields in email. So I'll show you how that works. So in this example, let me first show you how to create these custom fields. So by default, you're going to have username, priority, birthday, a bunch, or maybe birthday isn't a standard one, but there's a whole bunch, account type, referred by. These come standard with Service Autopilot. But then you can do what they call custom fields, which are all these fields here that we've created that you can create whatever you want from it to use for whatever needs you want. So if you go to settings here, and you go to custom fields is what it's called, right here. This is where you can create these custom fields like I've created here, which will pre-populate into the forms, into the clients down here. So these forms will be available. You can access them under Edit Client, Custom Fields. They're all listed here. You can edit them however you want, or you can have them populated via forms. So here, you have to take a training to activate forms, but once it's activated, you can add a form here. It'll bring up a box. But I'm going to show you one that's already created. So the one I'm using down here is this automation maintenance checklist. So what we're doing is we're creating a form, or what I'm doing is creating a form that will pre-populate that will recur monthly through automations that we need to fill out for our clients and make sure that we're maintaining their automations and doing the maintenance that needs to be done on them on a monthly basis, which will then email a report to each client letting them know what was done. So when you create this form, you're going to have some important fields here in order to make this work properly, and it's not always the most user-friendly experience, so that's why I'm making this video. So when you create this form, you need to have this name and address field, and it doesn't always create an error message, but sometimes it'll create an error message when you try to save it up here, telling you that you need to have these mapped to a custom field, and you also need to have, basically when you select this create on submit, create update client, you need to have these two fields on here, but it's not that clear. And they also need to be mapped to something. So let me show you how that works. I know that wasn't very clear how I said that. So on this form settings under name, you need to do map to. So when they submit it, this will map it to these custom fields. So in order to have any of these forms submit and map to anything to save it on the client's account down here, in order to have that work at all, you need to have this name and address field at a minimum. So name needs to map to client name. Address needs to map to service address. They're in this drop-down box. And this down here, so unfortunately you do need to have these fields here in order to do any other custom fields. So here, client 1, I made a custom field called client 1. So it's not going to show up in this original drop-down box under map 2. There's a two-step process. You need to first select custom field, and then you can select your custom fields you created. Whereas on service address, it's going to be just this one drop-down box. You don't need to select custom field because it's one that's built in with Service Autopilot. So once you create these custom fields, you're going to want to select create on submit. So you need to have create update client or create update lead. If you don't have that, it won't work. It also won't work if you don't have these fields mapping to something. And lastly, you need this auto approve create on submit. You don't need this, but it would just mean you'd have to manually approve the forms every time. So the easiest way is just to have this checked off, and then that's it. So if we save and close this, I just want to show you if we did not do that create auto approve on submit, then we would have to click this little bubble every time, and it would show a little approve button here. Like this is where I forgot to do that auto approve on submit. So you need to do this every single time, and then it would ask you to approve it or reject it every time. But if you just want to automatically get approved, then you select that auto approve on submit. It kind of saves some trouble and makes sure that happens automatically. Beyond that, to complete these forms, you can fill out the form from right here. I can fill this out. but this will not be accessible within the client's account. If you click this little bubble, you'll be able to access it. You'll have to go to marketing forms every time. If you want to be able to access the form in the client's timeline, like is listed here, you need to go to the specific client's account. You need to click on forms, and you need to click fill out form, and then you can select your form you created. If you do it here, as you see, it will pre-populate what's written in here. What's already in these fields will pre-populate it, so you can update these fields if you want to, and it will overwrite the data that's here. So as you can see, one other thing noteworthy is as of last year when I called, these forms do not work on the mobile, although you can fill out the form on the mobile, which is one of the options when you create the forms right here. It says show on mobile. So if you go through the training, they'll teach you all this stuff. Although you can fill it out on show on mobile, it will not map any of the fields. So it's kind of, they should really fix that, but it's been that way for a long time as far as I know. So it works from the desktop version, but will not work from the mobile version. One other thing I'll just show you since I'm showing you, but to tie this into automations, what we have here is a trigger for form was submitted. So when that form submitted, this automation is triggered. It's going to wait an hour, and then it's going to email the client this survey. So what we have here is we have the custom fields. I'll show you in the document editor right here. So once you create a custom field, it's now listed in your merge tags. So we have these custom fields that we created. They're all listed here. And you can have those pre-populate in emails. So basically, the way this whole automation works as a whole is each month, and that's back in here, each month we have these monthly maintenance for anyone who has purchased one of our automations that they're tagged and has a credit card on file, so you know they're an active client. My integrator is going to get a to-do each month, letting them know for the monthly maintenance to fill out this form. Once they fill out the form, it's going to email the client and say, here's a summary of what we did. It's going to say which clients we checked, which to-dos we checked, and any notes. This is a beginning. We're just starting these automations rolling, so this is just a beginning. I'm sure this will be upgraded and modified so we have more details and more things we're checking, but I just wanted to get it rolling. But basically, that's the way it works. It's going to then shoot the client an email, letting them know, filling in these custom fields. So that's how the forms work. So just keep that stuff in mind. I'll reiterate it once more. So when you do these forms, if you want them to map to the fields, you need, number one, you need to have these name and address fields, and they need to be mapping to something. On top of that, you need to have this selected. Create on submit needs to be selected. And lastly, you don't need to, but I would recommend putting this auto approve, create on submit. So that's how those forms work. Any questions, post them below, and check out the website at readybusinesssystems.com. I'll catch you guys next time.